lost in the night. We have to remember the morning will come, 'cause the light is strong, nothing can keep it from shining. Jesus is the light of the world. He's the light of the world. Then he shines brighter than the stars. And if we just believe in his love, believe in his love, we won't walk in the darkness anymore. 'Cause the light is strong, and nothing can keep it from shining. Even here in the darkest night, no matter what, nothing can keep it from shining. No matter how scared we are, the light's always stronger. The light's always stronger than the dark. There's a hope in our hearts, it'll never stop shining. A hope in our hearts, it's brighter than the lightning. The hope in our hearts that we're gonna keep finding. The light of the world, he is living inside us. There's a hope in our hearts, it'll never stop shining. A hope in our hearts, it's brighter than the lightning. A hope in our hearts that we're gonna keep finding. The light of the world, he is living inside us. And the light is strong, and nothing can keep it from shining. Even here in the darkest night, no matter what, nothing can keep it from shining. No matter how scared we are, the light's always stronger. The light's always stronger than the dark. The light's always stronger than the dark. The light's always stronger. The light's always stronger than the dark.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Diane Covher, and this is the 6th presentation on Yahweh's calendar timepiece. And this one is, when does Father's Day begin? I'm going to present another subject, which is also in the category of cognitive dissonance for many. The examination of the beginning of Yahweh's Day. There are those of you who already understand this subject, but maybe there are some who need to research this more. Let's start off by reading the most familiar account in Genesis. I will be using the name of Elohim, for it is the name used in the Hebrew in these verses. It encompasses the Father, Word, and Ruach in the creating, the full personage of Yahweh. Slide 2. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. And the earth came to be formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the spirit of Elohim was moving on the face of the waters. And Elohim said, "Let light come to be," and light came to be. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the first day. The end of verse 5 is where everyone goes to in claiming that here is the proof that the day starts in the evening. Let's take a look at what this would look like on a chart. Slide 3. Drawing shows just what is being claimed. What are the Hebrew meanings for evening and morning? I think this is something we need to learn. First, it says it was evening. Slide 4. Erev, dusk. Even, evening, eventide. To grow dusky at sundown, be darkened toward evening. And then it says it was morning, boker. Properly dawn as the break of day. Generally morning, day, early, morning, morrow. So what is verse 5 really saying? It was dusk to grow dusky at sundown, be darkened toward evening. And it was dawn, early as the break of day toward a new morrow. What are these two times of the day, evening and morning? What are they for? These are the separators of the light and the darkness. And Elohim separated the light from the darkness. One at the end of the day, evening, and one at the beginning of the day, morning. Some say it means night. It was night and it was day. Does it? Let's look at the Hebrew meanings for light, day, darkness, and night. Slide 5. Let's start with light, or illumination, or concretely luminary, in every sense, including lightning, happiness, etc. Bright, clear, light, lightning, morning, sun, shine. Next, look at day. Yom, to be hot, a day as the warm hours. And on to darkness, choshek, the dark, hence literally darkness. Figuratively or spiritually, misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness, darkness, night, obscurity, to be dark, as withholding light. Be black, hide. And the final word, night, lail. Properly, a twist away of the light, that is night. Figuratively or spiritually, adversity. Midnight season, to fold back. Okay, each one of these words has a specific meaning which defines their individual function. In order to fully understand the implications of the first 5 verses of the Torah, Genesis 1 through 5, we must dissect each verse down to the Hebrew meaning of the key words describing what is taking place. I know this may seem somewhat tedious to walk through, but I feel it is necessary in order to remove the covering the enemy has placed over this subject. Slide 6. In the beginning, Elohim created the heavens and the earth. This first verse is making known what was produced by Elohim from the start. The beginning here is referring to the first fruits, head of the family, of the creating or the fattening or filling up of the heavens and the earth. But something happens after this creating. Slide 7. And the earth came to be formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the spirit of Elohim was moving on the face of the waters. Other versions use the word was instead of came to be. However, came to be is a better translation for the understanding of that Hebrew word, for the next word, formless, followed by empty, describes a state much different than being fattened up and filled. What has happened to cause this state of the earth? Let's examine the word for formless. Slide 8. Tohu, to lie waste, a desolation of surface, that is, desert. Figuratively, a worthless thing, confusion, empty place, without form, nothing, waste, wilderness. And the word for empty, vohu, meaning to be empty, a vacuity, that is superficially an undistinguishable ruin, emptiness, void. The next sentence in verse 2 reads, "And darkness was on the face of the deep." Recall again what darkness means in the Hebrew. The spiritual meaning is misery, destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness, hence darkness, night, obscurity. Let's go to slide 9. The Hebrew word for deep is tehom and means an abyss, as a surging mass of water, especially the deep, to make an uproar or agitate greatly. The last sentence of this verse is, "And the Spirit of Elohim was moving on the face of the waters." Look at the word moving on this slide. Rakaf, to brood, flutter, move, shake, the stirrings and shakings of a bird in the nest. The use of this word has the implication of preparing to change the condition of and take possession of the current situation by stirring up the nest. On the face of the waters can read, over the countenance of the tumult. What was Elohim preparing to do? The very next verse declares, slide 10, "And Elohim said, let light come to be, and light came to be." Elohim was preparing to change the status of the current dark, chaotic condition the earth had turned into, the tohu vavohu. He began his transformation with the first word spoken, "Let light come to be." All that we are seeing around us to this day is from the spoken word of Yahweh. Slide 11. 1 John 1:1. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be that came to be. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Who's the Word? Who holds dominion over all creation? Who is the light? In these verses, you are being told exactly what is happening with that statement, "Let light come to be." Elohim's word took his place of dominion. And what had caused the dark, chaotic status of the earth? Slide 12. Isaiah 14. "How you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning! How you are cut down to the ground, you who weakened the nations! For you have said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will also sit on the mount of the congregation on the farthest sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the lowest depths of the pit." This is what was taking place in verse 2 of Genesis 1. The rebellious one, Nephal, fallen one, had rose up with great pride to try to overthrow Yahweh himself. And Elohim put a stop to it right there. Now we see Elohim's hand in the rebuilding of his creation of earth. Do we really understand what was being done at those first words spoken? The word of Yahweh was put in place. His eternal light was set over the darkness for eternity. The bringing of light or day was now supreme over darkness or night. Slide 13. "And Elohim saw the light, that it was good, and Elohim separated the light from the darkness." Here is the next step to removing the dominance of the influence of the darkness. Elohim pronounced the light that it was good. He then separated the light from the darkness. From the very start of Father's making things right, light is always mentioned before darkness. Slide 14. Elohim said, "Let light come to be." Elohim saw the light, that it was good. Elohim separated the light from the darkness, and Elohim called the light day and darkness he called night. The words for morning, light, and day are written 2,577 times. The words for evening, darkness, and night are written 445 times. Which do you think has dominion and favor from Yahweh? Let's look at the first slide I had up once again. Go to slide 15. It was evening and it was morning. Examine this picture carefully. What's missing? And now let's add the next day of creation to this picture. Slide 16. Half of the first day is missing. What was happening that first day of creation before evening was declared? It's blank. All of verses 2 through the first half of verse 5 is what was happening. I've written these verses using the Hebrew meanings. It really is quite fascinating. Slide 17. Starting with verse 2. And the earth came to be lying in waste, a worthless thing, confusion and empty, an undistinguishable ruin and void. And misery, destruction, sorrow, and wickedness was on the face of the uproar of the abyss. And the Ruach of Elohim was brooding and stirring over the countenance of the tumult. And Elohim said, illumination and happiness come to be. And illumination and happiness came to be. And Elohim saw the illumination, that it was good, beautiful, and well-favored. And Elohim divided asunder and made separate the illumination, light, from the obscurity and wickedness, darkness. And Elohim called the illumination or light day of warm hours to hot, and the obscurity or darkness night, to twist away and roll up from the illumination or light. The whole creation of this first day centered on light taking over, and Elohim declaring it good, beautiful, and well-favored. Again, my question is, how did he separate these two opposite factors? How is the distinction between the day and the night seen to change over each time? Let's finish verse 5 with the Hebrew meanings also. Slide 18. And there came to be dusky eventide, and a darkening toward evening. And there came to be early dawn, as the break of day, to a new morrow, the first day. You have to have light first for it to become dusky or grow dark, going into the nighttime. When you come to the end of the day, what do you see happening in the sky above? If you take time to observe this transition, you will see the shadows of night coming into position. This is called evening or dusk or eventide, sundown. The same happens when day takes its place again. The sky begins to lighten and take over the darkness of night. This is called morning or dawn or the break of day. Notice anything interesting? Nothing is ever said about the night hours. Nowhere is darkness ever called good. Darkness is always the second position to light. Is it correct as children of the Most High to place the darkness supreme over his light? If you will notice, the very next thing that takes place after verse 5 is verse 6, slide 19. And Elohim said, let an expanse come to be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. Again, Elohim speaking, which is the word, begins the creating. After the morning begins from verse 5, the next day of creating commences. That is the pattern for all 6 days. Slide 20. And Elohim said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the plant that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind. And Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night. And Elohim said, let the waters teem with shoals of living creatures. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its kind. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image. Each time, right after the statement of, and it was evening and it was morning, day 1, 2, 3, and so on, Elohim commands the start of more creating. I am aware that there are some who want an answer as to why the sun and moon are not mentioned until the fourth day. It is not that complicated if you study what has been written in Genesis 1. The first light was the Word taking dominion over the darkness. The making of the two great lights is the setting in place of Yahweh's timepiece. Even more important for us to look at is the day position of the creation of luminaries. Let's go to slide 21. This is a menorah. The fourth day is a special position. If you look at the 7-branch menorah designed by Yahweh and apply the first 7 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, you will see the fourth candlestick is the middle branch. That is called the servant candle, the one that is used to light the rest of them, and it's one that is to always be lit. That candle represents our Savior, Yeshua. The Hebrew letter is the Dalet, the fourth letter. It means door. The picture is as a door flap on a tent that swings back and forth. So, you can see the correlation to Yeshua. We know that He, the Word, is the door. All things depend on Yeshua, the Word, and turn or pivot on Him. Now compare this information with the fourth day of creation, the sun, moon, and stars. Can you see the picture of them being the signs that all time pivots or centers on in this fourth position? Isn't it interesting that this would be the very day that our Father spoke and set His timepiece in place? We live in time right now, and Father has put a limit on how long that will be. The sun, moon, and stars tick off that time till time is no more. Slide 22. Isaiah 60. The sun shall no longer be your light by day, nor for brightness shall the moon give light to you, but the Lord will be to you an everlasting light, and your God your glory. Your sun shall no longer go down, nor shall your moon withdraw itself, for the Lord will be your everlasting light, and the days of your mourning shall be ended. Revelations 21. The city had no need of the sun or of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God illuminated it. The Lamb is its light. Revelations 22. There shall be no night there. They need no lamp nor light of the sun, for the Lord God gives them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. Okay, back to the day issue. Let's just check out some scriptures that mention evening and morning, day and night. Slide 23. Exodus 10. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow will I bring the locusts into thy coasts. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and Yahweh brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. Numbers 11. And the people stood up all that day and all that night and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. Joshua 6. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day and marched around the city 7 times in the same manner. Slide 24. Judges 19. Then he arose early in the morning on the 5th day to depart. But the young woman's father said, Please refresh your heart. So they delayed until afternoon, and both of them ate. And when the man stood to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the young woman's father, said to him, Look, the day is now drawing toward evening. Please spend the night. See, the day is coming to an end. Lodge here, that your heart may be merry. Tomorrow go your way early, so that you may get home. Psalm 104. The young lions roar after their prey and seek their food from God. When the sun rises, they gather together and lie down in their dens. Man goes out to his work and to his labor until the evening. Jeremiah 6. Prepare war against her. Arise and let us go up at noon. Woe to us, for the day goes away, for the shadows of the evening are lengthening. Luke 24. But they constrained him, Yeshua, saying, "Abide with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is far spent." And he went in to stay with them. Okay, this is just a small sample of scripture verses showing the way morning, evening, day, and night were understood position-wise. If after reading these verses any still believe that the day begins in the evening, then how do we understand the verses talking about the crucifixion? Reading in Mark 15:26, we see Yeshua was crucified at the third hour of the day. If the belief is still that the day starts at evening, then that third hour would be 9 at night, by the reckoning of the day beginning at sundown, for the first hour of the day would start at 6 in the evening. Then he cried out at the 6th hour, which would have been, by that reckoning, 12 midnight, and died at the 9th hour, which would have been 3 o'clock heading towards morning. Has anybody thought about this? There's also another point to consider. When referring to the night hours in the Bible, they wrote first watch, second watch, third watch, not hour. Let's read Mark 6:48, slide 25. Then he saw them straining at rowing, for the wind was against them. Now about the 4th watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea, and would have passed them by. Notice the word watch for the night. The first part of the watch for night is 6 to 9 p.m. This is not the first hour of the new day. It is the first watch for the beginning of the night. The second watch is 9 to 12 midnight. The third watch is 12 midnight to 3. And the fourth watch is 3 to 6 a.m. Now, the ancient Hebrews had only 3 watches at night, but the Romans added another for a 4th watch, which is why it says the 4th watch in Mark 6. Do you notice that the night hours, they are keeping watch? That word in Greek in this verse means guarding. It has the same meaning in Hebrew. It is in the night, in the darkness, that guarding was set in place. Okay, so far I've been staying in the scriptures to prove the way day was viewed. What I would like to do now is quote a few different sources on the matter. I have 8 different quotes in my first book, but these 3 will give you something to chew on. Slide 26. The Jewish festivals, history and observance. In order to assure against profanation of the Sabbath, the Jews added the late Friday afternoon hours to the Sabbath. Judaism between yesterday and tomorrow. If we look at the essentials of a day of rest and reflection which has a religious orientation, it is possible to justify the shifting of the Sabbath worship to Friday evening, the celebration of which was moved back to the eve of the feast as early as the Middle Ages. Jewish Encyclopedia. In order to fix the beginning and ending of the Sabbath day and festivals, and to determine the precise hour for certain religious observances, it becomes necessary to know the exact times of the rising and setting of the sun. According to the strict interpretation of the Mosaic Law, every day begins with sunrise and ends with sunset. In these last days, the enemy has set many traps and pits in place for Yahweh's people. Father has all the true answers and directions for all his days, feasts, Sabbaths, timepiece, and calendar setup. We need to stay on guard and recognize the deceptive ways of Satan and turn away from them and follow Yahweh to be able to determine when his signal is given for one of his events to happen. That means being on Father's schedule calendar, not the world's. I have a couple of scripture verses to close with. Slide 27. And Elohim saw the light that it was good, and Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Isaiah 5. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness night for light day, and light day for darkness night, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter.
We get a mic drop.
Pardon? What do I need?
Drop the mic.
Drop a mic.
That was great.
Okay.
All right, so that's the end of the presentation. And if you do have any questions in the YouTube live stream, please feel free to share them there. Thank you all so much for joining in. I know Sister Diane has worked so hard to put all this together. So on behalf of everyone, we love you so much, Sister Diane. And yeah, everyone that is joining in Discord, I believe you can unmute your mic. If you cannot, maybe that's my fault. But feel free to chime in with any questions you might have. This is a pop quiz time where we're going to give our hardest questions to Sister Diane. And I'm also monitoring the YouTube live stream. So if you do have questions over there, please feel free to put them there. But you did have something to mention about the book of Enoch, right? You had been studying some from Enoch.
That will be the next presentation I do will be on Enoch, on what I've studied on Enoch.
Great. Yeah, that's going to be exciting. Definitely looking forward to that one. Kingdom Truther, are you with us?
Hey, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Sister Diane, can you read those the other script, the Isaiah one that you read? That's the 5:20, right? I have that one down. That's the one where they exchange darkness for light, light for darkness, correct?
Yes.
What other ones do you have? Because I have a few too. I just want to double check to make sure we have the same ones. What other ones did you say? Because I only caught that one.
Well, that was the ending one. Are you talking about the scriptures I was using up top, talking about when they were using the words night and day and morning and evening?
Yeah, like scriptures that will show that how people are not, woe to you, like that are exchanging light for darkness. Because I have two more that I like to read that I think that, I don't know if you read them, but
I don't have them down here. Go ahead.
Okay. So I found that I like to use this one that I think is pretty decent. So in Jeremiah 33:20, it says, "Thus says Yahweh, if you could break my covenant with the day," so with the Yom, "and my covenant with the night, Layla, so that they be not Yom and Layla in their season." And that is that word season is, I don't know if you have this one. That's 6256, and that means occasions, occurrences, intervals, and appointed times.
Yeah,
and then I also like to show people, it's very important when Father speaks the order of what he's saying. So he's mentioning day twice in this verse, day first before night.
Yes.
And so I like to use that one, and then the Isaiah one you brought up. And I found this one in Job that I thought was interesting. Just recently, this was just not more than a couple months ago. It's in Job chapter 17. And I think this one's similar to Isaiah, but if you have any other ones that would be similar, like Isaiah, please let us know, because I'm always looking for more arrows in my quiver here. So this one is Job 17, and it says, starting at verse 10 through 12 from the TS 2009. But please come back again, all of you, for I do not find a wise one among you. My days have passed by, my plans have been broken off, the desires of my heart. They would turn night into day, saying the light is near in the presence of darkness. So I think that's a good one. That's an interesting one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I have those three. Now my real question is this. I'm having trouble with something that I need your help with it. Maybe you can help me out, you and Justin. We know from being on the lunar solar, we know that the pattern is always going to be new moon day, day one. That's a worship day. Then we have our 6 days to work. And then on the 7th day is our Shabbat. And it always falls on the date of the 8th, 15, 22, 29. So I'm having a hard time trying to explain this to people, that going back to Genesis in the first chapter, now I know that the moon and the sun and the stars were not created on day 4, but they were made. And I know that is a different word made versus created in, and so I believe they were appointed in day 4. So my question is, how do I go about proving chapter 1, verse 1:1 and 1:2 that was a new moon day? I can't figure out how to show people that. Because it has to be new moon day, right? And then,
well, I don't really know. I mean, with what I was just showing here, the first light, it isn't, he hasn't set the timepiece in place yet. That is his word taking dominion over the darkness.
Okay.
I mean, it's when it comes to actually doing that, the Jews, they have done it in the Talmud. They're all trying to say it was created on this day and stuff. And I just look at it like, our Creator can do exactly what he wants. It's like a clockmaker. He makes a clock and he can start that clock anywhere he chooses to get the thing going. So to say that it started right here and now we're stuck in this time, what time does he say he has started his clock? We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't know that. And it's hard to prove that. And it's more or less, sometimes we have to walk in faith that he knows what he's doing.
Right. His ways are above our ways, for sure.
Yes.
You know what I've noticed is this is rampant in the Torah community. And I used to be under this I call it like a spell of Judaism or something. I used to be under this mindset, frankly, because I came in the Torah and I said, well, everybody else is doing it. Must be, and then Father's like, you showed me quickly within 3 or 4 months of adopting this evening to evening that he got me out of it. And he showed me in the creation account, like, no, I did my work during the day, then came evening, then came morning. It goes morning, evening, morning, evening, just like our human body clocks would do, right? So it's amazing that you're doing this study right now, because it's been put on my plate to do a similar presentation in the server that I'm in, because just the other day I was in another server and they were teaching the whole group of people that evening to evening is the correct way to do it. And I told Father, I'm not going to interrupt their study because it's not my place. But oh boy, it was so hard for me not to chime in. But I felt compelled, like I have to do a study in rebuttal to this other study because this is not correct. And the person doing the study, it was blowing my mind because he's literally teaching the people that we eat the Passover lamb on the 15th. I'm like, no, the 15th starts in the morning. And because they're under the mindset that they're going evening to evening. So when evening comes, in their mind, there's a date shift. So you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, today's the 14th. I wake up out of bed and it's the Passover. But by the time they get to the evening in their mind and they're starting to eat the meal, in their mind, it is switched to the 15th. And I'm like, that is not correct, because we see the Passover. Yeah, because we see the angel of the destroyer angel comes by at midnight, and that's still the date of the 14th.
Yeah. It's a problem. What they do is I fell into that too when I first came into understanding my Hebrew roots. Yes. Falling into, Judah's got to know what it is. I sure don't. I'm totally, clueless, and falling into it. And God showing me, why are you doing that? And what he had me read was the prodigal son. Mm-hmm. And showed me the prodigal son is Ephraim, dear. That's you. Mm-hmm. And did you see the prodigal son run to the older brother, say, how do I please my father? No. He came right to me. And I thought, oh, all right. And that kind of started freeing me to start seeing things differently and reading things differently, because the Talmud is very, very stiff.
Yeah.
And that is what they follow. And the Messianics have fallen right into toe on that too.
Right. What I've come to the conclusion recently, what I believe Father's been showing me is, okay, so a lot of us come out of Christianity, right? Now I was only my story is I was a straight up I believe there was as most people in society go, I believe there's a God, but they just live a heathen lifestyle, and that was me. I was only in Christianity for about 8 or 9 months, and he yanked me out of that pretty quickly. Now, maybe it didn't, the longer you're in something that's indoctrinating you, I think the harder it is to root it out of your mind, right?
Yes.
So he before that stuff took root, because when I was going to Sunday church, the things that they were teaching me there was not what Father was teaching me at my kitchen table. So I'm like, something's wrong here, Father. So my point is, I believe a lot of people, because they've been in Christianity so long, they come into the Torah movement and they're like, okay, we know this is right, but they don't check all their Christian baggage at the door, right? But what they also do is they run headfirst into Judaism. So now they like, I believe the narrow path is between Christianity and Judaism, and they just like literally go from one thing right into the other, and they think the Jews got it all right with the evening to evening and the Saturday thing, and they follow that. And to me, the Sunday Saturday thing is a double deception. It's a double snare where it's Sunday's a counterfeit, but then Saturdays it's a counterfeit, but it's even harder to spot. And they fall in from one ditch to a deeper ditch, and then you try to tell them Sundays. We know Sunday's not the Shabbat, right? And they go, yeah, well, why do you guys think Saturday's the Shabbat? You know, who says that that's the seventh day on a Roman Gregorian calendar or any other calendar? I don't care what you name it. If it lands on Saturday week after week or any fixed day, we got a problem, because Father's, we know what the dates are in the scriptures, and this is alarming in the community. As you know, it's rampant.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
It's the problem is what they do is they're like I was very, very hungry, realizing that I missed a very big portion, believing that the law had been done away with and all that. So I grabbed onto it. Right. But what God started showing me is, Diane, study to show yourself approved. You must study. Don't take everything that someone says. Look at it. And it was a long road, and it was very frustrating. And I'd set it aside many times. But every time I did, and I'd look up something else on the internet that looked interesting, there'd be a little verse or a little sentence in there dealing with the moon. I'm going, oh, okay, Father, what's this? And I take off on that, and he's the one that has brought things to me. And, I keep telling people that just come into it, knock. Not just knock like Bilbo did. Oh, there's no dragon here. It's knock and keep on knocking. And he will answer. And that's the thing. He sees, how long are you going to really pursue me? Are you going to be like the widow who continued to knock and say, I want justice. That is what I want. I want tenaciousness. I want perseverance. Then I know you're serious, and you know you're serious. And when you know, you'll grab onto what I have for you. And that's really, it's a hard thing, especially when new Christians go right into the Messianic. They end up in that.
Yeah. Can you, I'm going to yield the mic because let somebody else ask a question if they want. But real quick, before I go on mute again, could you, I know you have the slides. Now, I couldn't see the slides because my phone won't allow me to see the slides. Could you DM me slide 8 and 9, or the ones that had to do with how you broke down verse 2 with the Hebrew with the word formless, empty, darkness, face of the deep, and because I want to go through that. So is there any way you can do that or no?
Well, if I can figure out how to DM, I do better, just attaching this to an email and shipping you my whole presentation, and you'd have the whole thing if you wanted that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll just send you my email address.
Okay. And you know what mine is, right?
Yes. And that would be awesome because
I'll just send you the whole presentation, then you'll have it all.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, sister. Okay. Well, I'm going to just go on mute and listen. Thank you so much. Love you.
Okay. Love you.
Shalom.
All right. Thank you for sharing that, Kingdom Truther. Definitely some really great points that you brought up. We did have another question from Jazz in the chat. What was the translation that you used for Genesis in your presentation?
I think it's the scriptures.
The scriptures?
The scriptures.
Okay. I guess we can just find that by searching the scriptures.
Yeah, if you have eSword, a lot of times it'll be on there in all the different Bible versions. The scriptures should be in there.
Awesome. All right. And then from NBD 200, so the day does start at sunrise?
Yes, it does.
You got it.
Yeah,
right.
It does.
All right, great. So I think that's it for all the questions for today. So if anyone does have any more questions for you, where can they reach you?
At Diane, ISA 5812. That's Isaiah 58. Diane, Isaiah 58 at gmail.com.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Thank you so much, Sister Diane, for driving all the way down. And big shout out to your husband, Denny. Thank you so much for everything that you all do. We love you all so much. And we will see you all later on for our weekly summary. We're going to have our 9-month update with Eliana here shortly. But yeah, much love and many blessings to everyone.
Shalom.
Shalom.